Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Joe, do you know what beautiful, beautiful noise woke me up this morning?
Might it be birds chirping in the trees or a hedgehog burrowing through the ground?
Oh, Joe. Oh, I wish. No, Joe. This morning I was beautifully woken up to my neighbors making sweet, sweet love. Right next to my bedroom wall. And oh boy, it was a wake-up call.
Jesus Christ!
I've been waiting to tell you all day. I had to hold it in. I wanted to call you, but I'm like, no, this is podcast material. And Joe, if you don't mind me, I would like to divulge a little more. Give me a good minute of this.
Oh sure,
So,
I don't care. It's not me.
I'm sleeping, and I am not a light sleeper. I am what you call a heavy sleeper. My head hit the pillow at 10 o'clock almost every night. As soon as it hits, I'm out, and I wake up at 6 o'clock when the alarm goes off. Easy as that. It's very hard to wake me up. But I woke up at like 4:30. And I look, and I'm slowly waking up, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, what the hell is that noise that's waking me up? And I look at my watch, and it's like 4:30 in the morning, and all I hear is the loudest moaning I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, am I having that type of dream right now? Really? I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, I thought I outgrew this. And no, it was just my roommates just going at it. I'm like, oh my god, first off, it's 4:30 in the morning on a Monday.
Neighbors,
What
you mean,
the
right?
fuck? Yes, my bad. Neighbors,
Yeah, okay.
They're basically literally a very thin wall separating us. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is that what I think it is? And I just peep out of my blinds, and I just poke my eye out. And there I see, just full on in the window, just...
Wait. What do you mean you peeked
full
out the
view!
window?
Full view!
I don't understand.
I was like,
Where? Oh, is it because the building is like at the angles? You could see
it's
over?
I'm at the corner.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I had a quite a morning. Well, I will say it only lasted 30 seconds, so good to the guy for him. So there you go, everybody. That was my morning. Happy fucking Monday. I was able to go back to sleep, if you guys were wondering, and because I said fuck that. I'm waking up at 6. So I thought you would enjoy that.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yes, Joe.
Okay.
Yes.
So hello everyone and welcome to the comic edition of Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe, episode 26.2. Good God. Oh. I'm so glad you waited until now to tell me that. I wasn't expecting any of that.
Yeah, it's, I wasn't expecting it either, damn it! I fucking, 4:30! That's the thing that shocks me most, not like 1 in the morning, midnight, fucking 4:30 in the morning, who the fuck, on a Monday?
You think they stayed up until that point, or do you think they woke up at, actually, we shouldn't be speculating on this.
Part of me, for the first 5 minutes, I'm like, I was in shock. And like I said, part of me was like, is this going to stop? I'm like, how close is this? And is this like out on a balcony? It was not, but I opened up the blinds, as I said, and the window. That's all you needed. Okay, Joe, move this along because I'm stuck. Oh boy.
Okay, so if you manage to make it past that 4 minutes of college debauchery, then perhaps you'd like to listen to us talk about a couple of comics. Just 2. I'm going to talk about one, and then we're both going to pontificate on yet another. I don't know why I got all like British and proper weird there, but we're just going to roll along with it. So Joe, first off, before we get into the main attraction of this episode, I shall say. I want to talk to you briefly about Wonder Woman, if you recall, from a month ago. That's how comics work. I talked about Wonder Woman 77, not 70, 770. I've forgotten a zero in my head. But it was Wonder Woman in the Norse mythology sort of stuff. So, brief recap of that one. Wonder Woman woke up and she doesn't have memory who she is. She just remembers her name's Diana. She doesn't remember that she has superpowers. She doesn't really know any of her history. And she met a guy who became her friend called, what was his name? Siegfried? Yeah, I think his name was Siegfried.
Yep.
And, yes, thank you. And he's gone now because this is also like a time loop where every time they die, they just wake back up in the whatchamacallit, the meat hole. We're recording this right after Palm Springs, which is why I'm referring to time loops. But so after this time loop, though, all of a sudden Siegfried isn't there, and it's because like the Valkyries aren't shepherding them back to Valhalla or wherever. So Wonder Woman met up with a squirrel that has a unicorn horn named Ratatosk, and she's like, "Okay, adventure time. We're gonna go figure out what's going on." Which brings us to the opening of this one, where Wonder Woman confronts Thor, who is a redhead in this book, which I don't know if that's like more in line with what Norse mythology actually was, and he wasn't blonde, or it's just artistic license. I don't know. But as she meets up with Thor, and she's like, "Hey, why are you celebrating when like half of your people are no longer here?" And Thor is kind of being a dick, and he's just like, everything's going to be fine. The Valkyries will end up fixing things. See, people are still reappearing here. We don't have to worry about anything. And Wonder Woman is basically like, "You're an asshole. I'm going to go solve this problem." And then Thor is like, "Yeah, screw you, woman. Also, beware the wildlife, the wildlife." And so I'm just sort of like, is Thor just scared of something? And that's why he's refusing to help? So I don't know what's going on there. But Wonder Woman meets back up with Ratatosk, wildlife, and she goes along with Ratatosk because they're trying to figure out what's going on, and Wonder Woman doesn't have a weapon anymore, so she's like, "All right, I need a weapon." And the Ratatosk is just like, "Okay, here's the thing, I know a guy, couple of dwarves, let's go see them." So they go to find dwarves, but oh no, merc elves. I don't know what that means. They're just like evil elves. They're fighting against Diana, and
They're gonna murk you.
they're gonna murk you. That, God damn, why didn't I think of that? That's so much better. Thank you for that. But so they come along, and one of them pushes a massive boulder over like the cliff where they're battling, because Diana is just taking these guys out left and right. She's murking the merc elves, but then this other merc elf murks her with the big ass boulder that falls on her, and she has one of those mind whammy things. Remember when I talked about it the last time, like someone was telling her, "Diana, you're forgetting everything, you don't belong here, ooh, ghostly shit." And Diana's just like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "Ooh, fake." And then she wakes up and all that sort of stuff. She has another one here, but this time she converses with the guy a little bit more directly, and he manages to get a little bit more out, telling her like she doesn't belong here. And he's like, something about Olympus, and then the word bubble like dissolves, so like whatever comes after Olympus is illegible, and like Diana didn't hear it properly. So she breaks out of this boulder. It didn't kill her, but it almost did. And then she murks the rest of the merc elves, because the merc elf didn't murk her. So Ratatosk is just like, "Oh, sweet, okay, that's over with. So let's go into this cave and meet the dwarf to give you weapons." And so they go in and they meet somebody. Now, this is a character that I do not know, but clearly has a history. A little midget. I'm fairly certain this artist based him off Peter Dinklage, and he's called Dr. Psycho. It's spelt both ways, like actual Psycho, and then a different way that's like CIZ something O or something like that. And he's like, "Actually, it's pronounced this," and I'm like, I'm just gonna call you Dr. Psycho like everyone else. But so apparently he's a villain from Diana's past. I didn't look it up, I'm sorry. But she's talking with him, trying to figure out what's going on. And she doesn't remember her past, but she knows that he's not a good guy. So because she's in this blacksmithy area, and Dr. Psycho has been working on all this stuff, and you find out he's been like, putting some sort of magic or psionic power into the weapons that he's giving the merc elves so we can control them, which is why they tried to merc Wonder Woman. it's a thing, whatever. We move past it because it doesn't really matter all that much. Diana basically picks up a lasso, not her lasso, but she finds one in the, in the blacksmithery. She picks it up, and we don't see what happens, but she's just like, Ratatosk, go wait outside. I have a few questions I want to ask Dr. Psycho here. And Ratatosk is like, you don't need to fucking tell me twice, and bolts out of there. And then you don't see what she does, but the narration is basically like, and then she tortures him in a style akin to Casino Royale, and we can't show this. And you're just like, okay. And so she gets a bit of information about another character called Nidhogg, which I think is the world serpent. I believe that's the world serpent from Norse mythology. So she and Ratatosk, little chipmunk guy, go off to find Nidhogg. It's basically, this entire issue is basically just like a fetch quest where it's like you need to keep going to these different places to find these different things. So after Psycho, they go to Nidhogg, and when they're meeting up with Nidhogg is, big old snake in the roots of Yggdrasil, which is the world tree. Stop me if I'm going too fast. There's a lot of Norse crap going on in this book. But she meets up with the snake, and the snake is basically like, okay, so you want the key to the Valkyrie fortress so you can fix whatever the hell is going on with people not returning to Valhalla. I get that. I want to eat you, and then I'll give you the key. And Diana's like, but if you eat me, I'll be dead. And he's like, exactly. That's the deal. And she's like, counter proposal. Actually, no, Ratatosk is like, counter proposal. What if we got you one of the eagle eggs from atop Yggdrasil? And the snake is like, ooh, that's like some of that good. Yeah, I'll do that. And so Wonder Woman and Ratatosk scale the tree. And she's just like, what are you doing? And then Ratatosk is like, don't worry, I got a plan. As they're scaling the tree, they find Odin, who's just kind of like hanging there. And he's like, sup? And she's like, what are you? And he's like, oh, I'm just kind of hanging here. I called him the Big Lebowski Odin because he's very chill and doesn't really care about anything, which is super weird. If you know Odin from like anything else, he's not that at all. He says some cryptid shit about Diana and how she doesn't belong here and like prophecies, and then he's like, oh cool, and then he cuts the tether binding him to the limb that he's on, and he's like, okay, bye, and he just falls into oblivion. And Diana's like, what the shit was that? But later, moving on, they get up to the top. Someone already told the eagle at the top of the tree, like, hey, this is the plan, so give Diana an egg. And the eagle's like, here you go, have one of my eggs, but just the one, that's all you get. And Diana's like, and then Ratatosk is like, yeah, someone already told him, we gotta go. And she's like, wait, what do you mean someone already, who told him? And Ratatosk is like, not important right now, now slide down the tree. So Diana takes this egg, which also is like the size of her, because it's a massive eagle that lays massive eggs, slides down the tree, and then before they go back to Nidhogg the serpent, Ratatosk is like, all right, here's the plan, because the key is inside Nidhogg, he ate it, so we're gonna cut open this egg, pour out the eagle yolk, and we're gonna stuff you in the egg, and then I'm gonna like roll in like a clown on a ball, like chipmunk on this egg. I'm just gonna roll this massive egg up to this snake and be like, okay, so Diana, she's gone, she died, the eagle ate her, but here's your egg. And Nidhogg is like, all right, cool. And Nidhogg just eats the egg with Diana inside, and that's where the issue ends for now. So Diana, because she would have died being just eaten by the snake and then popped back up in Valhalla, now is inside the egg, safe, so she will be able to get the key, hopefully.
I feel like I lived a whole lifetime in that book. Holy shit.
It's some good shit.
It's a lot of stuff in one book.
It is. I had to write down all the different things. I wrote down like Thor, Ratatosk, Merc Elves, Dr. Psycho, Nidhogg, Big Ass Eagle. Like, these are all things in the margins of my notes because I'm like, all right, I need to remember all these things because this is how much she ping pongs around.
That's like 50% of the campaign right there.
It really is. It's insane.
It sounds interesting though, but at the same time, I'm like, wow. I'm like, it wasn't like, oh, we introduce a topic and stick with it throughout that whole book. It's like, we have a topic, we move to this one, we move to this one, we go to this one. Don't worry about this. We move to this one, and I'm like, holy shit, how many side quests are there?
Yeah, it's a a few side quests, but they're all, in order to get to the main thing. It's very much like someone played 2018's God of War and was just like, oh yeah, that's the stuff. And they just like did a lot of cocaine and they wrote out the script for like a comic book. And then they were like, all right, DC, this is what I got planned for you. And I'm like, okay, we're doing something big with Wonder Woman right now. So why don't you take this and apply it to her? And the guy's like, yeah, I totally got this. I can totally fix all this and put it all together. And he's like, wait, Diana from Greek mythology? And I'm going to put her into Norse. So, God bless that guy. I should really look up who the author is, but I'm not. Hang on. It's two people. It's like Conrad and someone else. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, it's a good book. I got to say, I'm really enjoying it for for what you get out of it with the price range and everything like that. I'm like, this is like the first ever Wonder Woman series that I'm reading, and I'm really digging it.
Yeah, no, it sounds really, really unique and cool. Like I said, I was just amazed with how much they crammed into that issue. Holy shit.
I'm amazed with how much I was able to remember all of it, like how easily I was able to remember all of it.
Yeah, that was kind of impressive.
Thank you. Now I'm big brain.
I'm big brain.
I am big brain. All right. So now, you want to bring us into this this little ditty by Zdarsky?
Yes. Well, this last week was Mr. Zdarsky's quadruple comic release week. He had 4 comics coming out. Mm-hmm. His Daredevil comic didn't matter.
It does matter. Shut up.
What we're here for is Spider-Man Spider Shadow #1, a 4-issue miniseries from Marvel's What If. And if y'all will remember, Chip Zdarsky is the one who did Spider-Man Life Story, which Joe and I called a modern classic.
Because it is, and it's great, and I love it. Also, small addendums. I watched an interview with Zdarsky last week from the Comic Pop channel. Love you, Sal, fellow New Jersey lad. And Zdarsky confirmed in that #1, Spider-Man Life Story is getting a a next chapter, like a single issue sort of a thing that's coming in. Well, I think I said August when I texted you, and then this series has also been bumped up from 4 to 5 issues because he was talking to his editors and he's like, guys, I need one more issue to really do what I want to do. And they're like, you got it, Zdarsky. So I always love that because then you open up the book and it's like 104 and then like you'll get issue, not 2 because it's probably already been printed, but then issue 3, it's like 3 of 5 and you're like, what the fuck?
Wow, I had no clue. That just made my soul so much happy.
Yeah.
And so we pick up this book, and I gotta say, Joe, I love this cover. I think it's pretty damn cool.
They're good covers.
Really good covers. It's a little like scary. Where I was like, oh, this is gonna be pretty dark, isn't it? Kind of reminds me of giving me Prometheus, scary vibes.
Oh yeah, kind of like I never thought about how the black goo in Prometheus is like the Venom symbiote stuff. Holy shit,
Joe,
yeah.
Come on, man. Where have you been? How did I think of this?
You're scarred by alien movies, so you always have this shit on the brain. I don't care.
Okay, well, let's get into the story. This story starts off with a blank black page, and it's simply with one little quote in the middle. Hurry, Peter. And we see Peter having this nightmare that he can't save Black Cat, Gwen Stacy, Aunt May. Like, he's like, I can't do it. They're all gonna die. And then he wakes up and he's like, oh my goodness. He's like, I'm doing my best. He's like, oh man, I haven't been able to sleep. And he gets the black suit on and he goes out. He's like, all right, I gotta go clear my head. And, he goes and he saves some muggers and stuff. Being, I will say, a little more aggressive to muggers than normally. He literally, throws one and smashes him into a wall. A little aggressive for my taste, but...
Just a little.
But Spidey's like, damn it, I wanted to sleep. What the hell? And he tries to go back to sleep again, and then MJ scares him in the middle of the night trying to wake him, and he like he throws her into a bookshelf.
Yeah, he Spider-Man 3's her.
Freaking wild. And she's like, "Hey, you all right, man?" He goes, "Oh, I've really been struggling." And she's looking at the suit, and she's like, this suit's a little different." He's like, "Yeah, it's we're working on figuring it out. I got to go see Mr. Fantastic about it." And so he's going to see Reed Richards, and freaking Hobgoblin shows up, and he's like, "I'm gonna cause problems." And Spider-Man's like, "Oh my God,
That's the
shut
voice.
up."
That's the voice I'm gonna hear in my head every time I read anything involving a Hobgoblin now.
I am so happy. I worked for hours on it, just prepping. And once my moment came, I'm like, "Don't fuck it up, Joe. Don't fuck it up."
And you did not. Praise be to you and your amazing voice talent.
And Spider-Man quickly fucks him up. And Hobgoblin's like, "Oh, you'll never get me. Whatever, I'll be back." And Spidey's like, "You know what? Fuck you." Takes off his mask. And he's like, "Whoa, man, you're breaking the rules. That's not how the comic's supposed to work." And he just beats the shit out of him. He's like, "You know what? I'm done with this shit." He's like, "Spread the word. I'm playing for keeps." And it's like, this is like, he kind of tough. You think he's a big boy now.
He says that, acts all tough, webs away, and immediately regrets it. He's like, what the fuck would I just say?
He's like, "All right, let me go see Black Cat." And Black Cat, I forgot about Black Cat, but I'm happy I remembered her. And she's like, "Oh, hey, Tiger." And he's like, "Oh, do not call me that."
That's not your word. That's not your word. That's not your word. Is MJ here? No? Okay, that's still not your word. You can say it again.
And she's like, "Hey, what you doing?" And he's like, I've been having a rough couple weeks. I gotta go. I gotta go see Reed Richards anyway." And so he goes sees Reed Richards, and Torch is there. Human Torch is there. And he's like, "Hey, Dr. Richards, do you mind if I, sleep?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead, kid." I also will say, Spider-Man's not a kid in this. He's definitely, an adult. And surprisingly, a pretty, husky adult.
It might just be the art style of this book. But yeah, so, this takes place in... I think the story is from the 80s, if I remember correctly, when the black suit came around. So at this point, the reason why Black Cat is around is because he was dating her currently. And also he's living on his own because he dropped out of college, and Aunt May is mad at him for that, which you find out in this book as well. So that's MJ is just a friend of his. Gwen Stacy has died, and he and Felicia are together, and so he doesn't that's kind of the status quo that you got going on for Spider-Man right now.
And he ends up letting Reed test the suit out, do some scans, and in the middle of it, he has a nightmare, and he's like, all right, he wakes up, he's like, "All right, it's good, it's all good, relax, you're safe." And he tells him basically, "Hey, this suit is basically a symbiote. It's alive and living off of you. You should probably take it off immediately." And Spider-Man's like, "Is that really necessary?" And Reed's like, "Yeah."
I would say
He's
so,
like,
in a professional opinion.
He's like, "Well, you don't know what you're talking about. You just want it for yourself. Bye."
Peace out.
And he goes, he's like, "All right, I got to go talk to May. I'm feeling like shit." And in a very cool transition, the black suit turns into a black petticoat, which I thought looked pretty sick. And he talks to May, and you get this little look that Hobgoblin's kind of spying on him. And it was in these panels where I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, Peter's got this full on beard. He looks like wood chopping Peter from
from
Life Story.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely the same vibe where he's dad mode. And Hobgoblin ends up busting in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you, Spider-Man."
That fucking voice.
And Spider-Man's like, "You fucking bitch, I already fucked you up today." And he's like, "You unmasked me, you broke the rules." And Spider-Man's like, "You little cunt." And he beats the shit out of him, and Aunt May's building goes on fire, and he's like, "Oh shit, Aunt May!" And he goes in to save her, and the suit won't let him in. The suit's like, "Fire, no, kill us, bad, cannot," and he has no control over it. The suit has twisted around a light post, and the building ends up exploding, and Aunt May dies. And it's like, holy shit, like, wow, he could have saved her. Like, it was basically the nightmares he was having were premonitions of this. At least that's how I see it. I'm not sure if it was exactly that. And then eventually he sees Hobgoblin, and Hobgoblin's like, oh shit, like, I made a mistake. Maybe this was a little too much. And
I think I might have
Spider-Man.
gone a little too far in a few places. Um, Maybe we can reconvene tomorrow morning, at a more convenient time.
And they show you Spider-Man's face with the mask on, and it's like this skull. It almost looks like Ghost Rider a little bit.
I got those similar vibes. Yeah, like the instead of just the simple white eyes in his rage and sadness and anger, it just contorts into this skull image, which looks awesome.
It's actually pretty scary. It's like kind of
Yeah.
scary looking. Like in a different context, that would scare the shit out of me. And so he ends up capturing Hobgoblin, and he's like, "No, I didn't start it, but I'm gonna finish it." And he just crushes Hobgoblin's head, or pushes its eyes. I don't know. He just applies a lot of pressure to the frontal bone, and it's he basically kills Hobgoblin. And the story ends with Hobgoblin all tied up in spider web, assuming dead, and he's just hanging there. And he's like, "I have this power," and this is Spider-Man talking. He's like, "I have this power, and it's time to use it." And I gotta say, this book is definitely like I knew it was gonna be dark, but this is kind of some scary shit. And I really like the way that this suit looks, where it kind of goes to like that skull mode. And I like the inner dialogue of Peter in this, because most of the dialogue in this is just Peter in his head, and a little bit of talking to the Venom suit. And that was really good. That set the tone for the whole thing. And it's, I don't know, I'm really interested to see where this goes. Like, how fucking dark are they gonna take this?
Yeah, because that's the thing with What If series is that it's not main continuity, so you can really do anything with it. And that's part of the reason why I think Zdarsky, when I was listening to this interview, he was talking about how it was something where Marvel approached him first and were like, "Hey, we were curious if you want to do like a what if sort of story type of deal," and he was like, "Yes, but not the way it currently is right now, because what ifs are always or had always been in Marvel single issue runs, and it was just like, hey, so what if this person made this different decision?" And then you have only one issue to explore all the ramifications of what that would do. And so it was his idea to then go further with it and be like, okay, what if we make these just a bunch of mini series? Which me personally, I'm like, I would love more time to explore and see what the hell is going on with this stuff. I love stuff like the White Knight series and Batman. Lots of the like the in DC the Earth One books are all basically Elseworld stories, because it's like a different continuity versions, and they're just trades. So it's like you get basically 5 to 6 issues of Elseworld thing, and so this you're gonna get basically, it's not going to be like, another Spider-Man life story, because that's its own completely different thing where it follows the continuity of Peter Parker throughout, his entire publication. But then this is going to be another mini series by Zdarsky that's just going to take this really cool look at Spider-Man's history and like see how it would be different if he kept the symbiote suit. And already, like, again, I'm in with this stuff, not only because I love Zdarsky, but because just the idea of this is awesome. And the final image of, I think it's the final image, is Hobgoblin after Peter's done the deed. And so just the image of him being cocooned on a street, his head fallen over and just blood pouring out onto the street. I'm like, Oh God, like same as you. How far is this going to go?
Speaking about being dark, Spider-Man makes a really great joke where he's like, yeah, when the he saves the old woman from being mugged. She's like, Spider-Man, is that you? Because he's in the black suit at this point. He's like, yeah, I added dark to tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah, yeah. I found that funny
A
too.
plus, A plus comedy.
Good job, Peter. Yeah, and the dichotomy of that opening where he saved the older woman from the bad guys, and then at the end he fails to save the older woman, and then kills the bad guy. And so I'm just like, Zdarsky's pretty good at doing this whole storytelling thing, isn't he? It's like it's like poetry. It rhymes or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's good. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But when's the next issue come out? Do you know? Let me
I
see
believe
the back
it's
of the
just a
book
month
real
from now.
quickly.
Yeah, flip to it.
May
Yeah.
12th.
Yeah, so it's
But
just a monthly release schedule.
but what are we getting next week, Joe? Or should
Ooh,
I say this week? What are you getting?
this week? So, it's also going to be a relatively simple haul for me. I'm getting the next Nightwing book, written by Tom Taylor. So I am very excited for that. I was a big fan of that first issue. And then also, an issue we'll both be picking up is Radiant Black #3, babe. I can't believe we're 3 issues into Radiant Black already. I'm so excited for this book.
Yeah, that feels like ages ago that we did that. It showed you how much time actually like passes in the middle of the semester. Um, but Joe, I'm gonna laugh my ass off, but I think my Wi-Fi just
Jose,
disappeared.
I
This is
cannot hear you.
hilarious. We have never had this happen before. I guess I'm gonna try and do a personal hotspot. I don't.
Jose. Okay.
Joe, don't you love technical difficulty?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Joe.
I have no clue either. I love how consistent and smooth podcasting is. There's no problems.
Yeah, no problems at all. So you were saying what you were going to be picking up this week?
Oh yeah, where was I? Um, Blade Runner Origins #3, baby, because this is just a Blade Runner channel at this point, and we've never even seen Blade Runner, but it's the
I've
comics
never
are pretty
seen a
good.
single minute.
Comics are pretty good. And I am also picking up Radiant Black #3 because why not, man? It's we I hope is this thing popular? Do you know? Like I ain't I'm not with the hip stuff anymore. So what's going on? Is there talk about it on the World Wide Web?
On the World Wide Web. I think there is some, but I think it had like it was at its most popular for issue 1, and then I didn't hear much talk about it when issue 2 came out. So it's doing the thing that most comics do, where it's like big opening and then big drop off, and then it'll probably even out more so as it goes along. So it's not really all that big from what I know, but it could get bigger. Who knows?
I know something else that could get bigger. You just set me up for it. I'm sorry. We're not a children friendly. That was Hobgoblin right there, everybody.
Oh, okay. That makes it much funnier now. Thank you for that. Yeah. My brain is shot. Should I just end it here?
All right.
We
Well,
good?
nothing happened. We love you all. I'm gonna do the closure, Joe. Don't even say a word. I got this. I'm prepared. I'm the
Okay.
professional out of this duo. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, read some comics, support your local comic store. Support your local record store, your local bookstore. Go to a damn coffee shop for once. Like, what the fuck? Drink some tea. I don't know. But whatever you do, your neighbors are sleeping, man. Don't be too loud.
Jesus Christ.
And with that, Goodbye.